Let me start off this presentation by telling a little story. I was bored one day and I was scrolling through my YouTube recommended feed and I saw this video comparing American music versus Japanese music or something along those lines. At the time, the only exposure I had to anything related to Japanese culture were a couple of animes that I would casually watch. But that was soon to change drastically. Ever since I watched that video, I became enthralled with Japanese music, and as time passed by, and after me taking this course, I realized that the Japanese music industry truly is unique. But first, we must start where it all began. Now, before the 20th century, enka was the most popular form of music in Japan, and as time progressed and music started to focus more on social issues, ryokoka came to be. Ryokoka then evolved into kayokyoku and all of its subgenres such as wasei pop and mood kayokyoku came to be with popular songs such as Kyu Sakamoto's Ue Muite Aruko. Around the 1970s, kayokyoku became its own genre with the creation of subgenres such as folk songs and idol karaoke. From then on, J-pop, which is not just bound to Japanese pop music, flourished into several subgenres and with many noticeable artists. What I found interesting about the Japanese music industry and why I believe it's so unique is how different the music industry is in Japan compared to the West. To start off, it's one of the only markets in the world in which physical copies outperform their digital mediums. Um, the factor behind this has to do with how idol culture works in Japan. From its humble beginning as idol karaoke to conglomerate idol groups such as AKB48 and Nogizaka 46. These idols can seduce their audience with their kawaii, bubblegum, innocent appearances. Furthermore, unlike their Korean counterparts such as BTS and Girls' Generation, Japanese idol groups usually have many members. This allows a group to perform at multiple venues at the same time, and as well as to better connect with their fans. The kawaii factor, the fan meetups that usually further cements the facade of an intimate relationship between the idol and the fan, and the sheer number of idols increases the likelihood of a fan feeling an intimate connection with an idol, therefore increasing the likelihood of said fan to buy a physical copy of an album with the promise of receiving some sort of merchandise of their favorite idol. It is through this packaging of merchandise with physical copies of music that allows these physical versions of music to outperform their digital counterparts. Furthermore, many artists such as Radwimps, Asian Kung Fu Generation, Frederick, and Lisa are able to find success by being featured in soundtracks, particularly the soundtracks of animes and Japanese movies. A notable exception to this, however, is the popular rock band Gesu no Kiwami Otome. They were able to find success through clever marketing, the unorthodox behavior of releasing full versions of songs before an album release, and discreetly being part of one of Japan's most prestigious record labels. Although none of these groups have been able to find success in the Western mainstream, they do find massive cult followings within both otaku diasporas scattered throughout the world, and as well as their domestic Japanese markets. However, there are three notable exceptions of which Japanese artists have entered the Western mainstream. Those exceptions are Kiari Piamu Piamu with her song Pon Pon Pon, Vocaloid artist Hatsune Miku, and Hikaru Utada. Although she no longer receives attention from the mainstream Western listeners, Kiari Piamu Piamu was able to become viral in 2011 with her Harajuku aesthetic in her debut song Pon Pon Pon, by embracing that Western perception of Japan being vibrant and quirky and just overall different from, the West. The Vocaloid artist Hatsune Miku also uses the same vibrant and quirky perception of Japan by having the novelty of not being an actual human being, but actually being music software with a holographic persona. In contrast, Hikaru Utara's American upbringing and the familiarity her music shares with music in the U.S. allows her to dabble in both the Japanese and Western markets throughout her career. In the grand scheme of things, Japanese music and its music industry truly is unique because not only do physical copies of music outperform digital streams of the same songs, but also that many musical groups such as Gesu no Kurame Otome, Radwimps, AKB48, and many others are able to have massive cult followings in the West, but never actually make it into the Western mainstream.